I don't want to add that. So it'll keep bringing you back. You just kind of keep cycling through and adding it up to where you want to. The one thing, oh yeah, like we should have like an arrow on like, an alert or something.
All right, guys, let's start. Let's go to Fernando, number 1.
Students will practice using Git branches.
Yeah, so we'll practice using Git branches. We'll start off really slow, and then we'll move on to the useful part. If I show you everything in one go, my past experience, people are like sad. They just get really sad and defeated. So I'll just show it to you in little chunks, and it won't make sense, but you'll understand it. It won't make sense why we're doing it, but you'll understand it all. Number 2, Aaron.
Students will take a survey on how things are going so far in the project.
Yeah, very important you fill this out. Even if things are, going phenomenal, please fill this out. Let me know, because we can fix things really fast. We're at the beginning stages, so we can fix things really fast. Like my entire group's not here. If you let me know, we can fix that, right? But if you don't, then I can't do anything about it. Number 2 again, Derek.
Students will all get their idea approved, show their APIs work, get the wireframe.
Yeah, and the last thing is get their Trellos approved also. So I just want to make sure you're thinking of everything, right? So, you thought through your idea, it makes sense. You made sure your API calls work, right? You made AJAX calls to them. You signed up for them. In some cases, some people had to request access to certain APIs, right? So it was good that they realized that early on in the project. Your wireframe. So some people, I looked at your wireframe, I gave you feedback. It's not approved yet. I need to see it. Like I need to see it. This way you're going to think of all the different things you need to kind of architect, right? If you have a vote button, then you have to kind of consider the Firebase architecture for that voting, right? And how are you going to tie it to different people, right? Or maybe that's not an issue. It's just every vote is one vote, and people can vote multiple times. But just need your wireframe approved and your Trello. This is very important. I don't want to see a group where it's like, I'm going to do just the HTML, and this person's just going to do the CSS, and this person's going to do the JavaScript. No, cannot. Like, the real world doesn't work like that. It's mostly a feature, right? It's like you are going to do the voting poll. You are going to make sure that the high scores work. You are going to figure out the game mechanics for this one function, right? So maybe you're making a poker game, right? You're making a poker. So let's say what's that simple poker? It's not 5. Texas Hold'em, yes. That's still not simple. There's another one that's simpler. Blackjack can get complicated, but we'll just stick with blackjack. Yeah. So if you're doing blackjack, then maybe someone's just making a deal function, right? And once that person finishes the deal function, maybe someone's also working on, I forget how blackjack. It's 21, right? Someone's working on the points, the point calculation, right? So you break it up into features. No, please do not do that, because you're robbing your teammates of the opportunity to grow, right? If you just do HTML, they need to grow, and growing, you need HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to grow. Cool. So I slacked out this link right here. Just fill out this survey. I'll give you guys 10 minutes. Shouldn't take any longer than that. And then we'll jump right into GitHub branches.
So it's here, counter, if you come over and then here, so when you put done violence here, and it's a bit of a shopping cart. You know, to be able to say, I don't actually don't want to. And you be able to name your list, save your list, and save your list and start a new list, or save your list and see your list.
Oh, if you filled it out already, fill it out again. It's complete cool.
Maybe one is called my Sunday, my Sunday routine. Hopefully it's not too bad.
And does anyone have like an app for jump calls?
They say earlier we also maybe let's just get the fun. I checked I tested both the I have a few questions about each one. When it comes to the search, I go through like ask about that, but other than that, they both work.
And unless you.
Cool. The problem I have with the food one is like, how do you? It probably was like it's like large graphics. It's like a percentage sign, 20 at large, percentage 20 at how do you
The same
type
call.
that in? Sometimes it looked like you could just type them in and work. I did like that. You know, it didn't get calories. And sort of like we type in literally the word, and it would say 0 calories.
I can also show you how to if you if that's something you do. That's what I'm going to do. But I think I could just manually.
Yes, that's what we're doing right now. And I created the GitHub too, so hopefully when it uses a branch. Oh, and I just to play around with it,
But take their offer also.
system,
Yeah.
I started playing around. It works pretty well. This was like super easy. Yeah, that's a good. It's a alternative show. It's super. It's pretty super easy. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I literally get this. Right. Right. This is just hang on.
But they're saying that.
Yeah, just get the problem started. Just start manually.
Yeah, I think I sent you an email. I just literally created one. It's a very basic delegation. Send it to the same email. The one you requested, or same email you requested. To be shared on the other document. Mylan.
All right, you guys filled out the survey. Stop sharing my screen for a second. Just check it out.
Did you try that one?
Okay. About 1 minute 30 seconds left. And 20. Okay. So I'm in this folder right now. We're going to jump into GitHub branching. Important part, this is not going to sink in right away. It's going to be hard to do this in a group setting. So it's going to take the rest of the course to really hammer down, to understand how to work with groups effectively. It's going to take the rest of the course to really hammer down. So the GitHub stuff today, it's just the beginning, right? We're going to repeat this same lesson for project 2 and again for final projects, literally the same lesson. Okay, so let's go to Aaron Mary. How do I make a folder? MK,
MKDR. Yeah.
nice. And then I'll just make this folder. I'll call it Git exercise, was it 2.5.19? And how do I check what files and folders I have? Let's go to LS. Excellent, William. So how do I go into this folder now? CD, Git, and then what can I, tab, nice. Okay, so how do I check where I am on my computer? PWD, what does that stand for? Present working directory, good. Cool, so I'm in this folder right now, and I'm gonna type git status, and it gives me an error. Why does it give me that error, Qua? I haven't done anything, right? I mean, I haven't initialized or I haven't cloned. There's 2 ways you can create a repo on your computer. There's 2 ways. Let me just make this new file, 01. There are 2 ways you can make a Git repository on your computer. This is kind of redundant. One, you can do git clone a repo URL. Right? 2, you can make a folder and you can do a command. You can do this command. Git init. Yeah. Generally, I will always do this. I will rarely do this, right? But there are 2 different ways. This is more of a manual way. Let's say you have some code that you're working on, but it's actually something you do not want to push anywhere, right? Let's say you're working on some blockchain code, right? And you're tying money to it. And if you push it up, you're screwed, right? You'll lose all your money. So, but you do want version control. So what you do is you do this and you don't push it up to GitHub, right? So that's a scenario where you would not push it up to GitHub and you would do everything manually. So 2 different ways of making Git repos. I'm going to do this way right now. Once we connect all the dots, I'll just stick with this way. All right, so going back over here, so git init, and now if I do git status, it comes up fine, right? It says that there are no commits, there's no changes. So really the main difference here is this .git folder. So git init makes a .git folder, right? That's what it does. And all the version control stays there. Init makes a .git folder. It's hidden. So the only way you can see it is if you do ls-la, git init or git clone. Yeah, that's a Google search. It's like git checkout -f the commit hash. If you just like I have in my git notes, but if you search for go back to a previous commit, it's a common process. Okay, so I made this git repo right here, and now I can check the branches by typing in git branch. And we see, that's weird. It should show master when I do that, but for whatever reason, it's not. Shows the branches you have. Okay, well, once I make another branch, we'll see that other branch over there when I type it in, along with master. So now, how do I make a file, Qua? We'll just do readme.txt, ls, readme.txt, good. And I'll just go in here. I just opened up the file. We'll just put in Sandy, right? And if I go over here, clear, do git status, right? It shows that readme.txt is an untracked file. So how do I commit this? What's that process like, Rob, Joe? Git add readme.txt, good. And I'll just do git status again, just to check. So before it said untracked files, now it says changes to be committed, right? So now that I did git add, what do I do next to commit? And you want to give good names, right? Because it'll be hard to go back to commits that have the same name for every single one. So we'll say add Sandy in, right? Okay, I need to, generally you won't have this situation. It's just, I have multiple GitHub identities on my computer because I have a work one and a personal one. So let me do, I can remember my email. Yeah. That's not the normal email I use. It's just for this situation. Okay. So let's see, did that commit go through? Actually did not go through. So I'm going to do the git commit again. There we go. Great. So I just committed it. So it was git add, git commit. If I do git status right now, we don't see anything here. Now, the thing is, this isn't connected to a remote repo. This isn't connected to github.com or bitbucket.com or any cloud repository service. The way we can check that is type in git remote-v. Oh, crap. Git remote-v. Really? Okay, well that makes sense because I don't have any remotes. So git remote-v, and this shows me any remotes that I have, right? Right now it's not connected to anything, right? So that's why we don't see anything. If I wanted to connect this manually, I'm gonna just do this for the time being, but add origin, let's see. I'll make a repo right now and connect it, but trying branch exercise. So if I do git remote-v now, we see that this repo is now connected to this remote repository, right? If I wanted to just remove it, I would do git remote remove origin, and now it's gone. So let me just put that in for you guys. That looks horrible. And just get rid of all of this stuff. shows you any remote cloud, shows you any cloud repositories that are connected to your local repositories, to your local repository. This is how you connect your local repository to a cloud repository. This is what it would look like if you did connect it. This is how you remove the connection. Now, if you do git clone, you don't have to add the remote, remove the remote. You don't have to do any of that, right? You don't have to git init or anything. You just git clone, and then you could just work off of it. That's why git clone's like the way I choose to do things if I want to save my code on GitHub, right? But if I wanted something more local, then I would go git init and manually do things, right? So if I don't want to push something up, but I want the version control, right? I want to be able to go back to previous commits, and I want the branching ability. So I didn't show you much right now. All I did was I showed you I made a folder, right? I did git init inside of it that makes a .git folder and makes it a repository. It's a local. It doesn't live anywhere else except my computer, right? And then we made a file inside. We added some stuff to it, and I did git branch. It didn't show me anything, but we have one branch right now. Does anyone know what branch we're on? The master branch. We have only one branch. By default, you get the master branch. I showed you guys git remote-v. This shows, is this repo, is this local folder connected to anything in the cloud, right? And if you guys ran this command on any of your repos on your computer, you would see the GitHub repo link almost there. It might be modified a little bit, but you would see it right there. So mine doesn't show anything because I didn't connect it. Now, if you wanted to manually connect it, right, then this is what you would do. You do git remote add origin, the link right here. This link you would get from GitHub. You don't have to do this if you do git clone, but we're not going to be doing git clone for now. Okay, so let me just give you an exercise to review this stuff that I just went over. And let me find, where's my, so it's O2, git exercise. And Monica, give me a thumbs up when you have it downloaded and you have it opened in Sublime. Pretty basic, we're just reviewing the simple commands, right? You have it? Good. And Aaron, give me a thumbs up if you have it. Ready? Cool. So you're making a folder, you're going into that folder, you're initializing a Git repository. There's a command that you use, starts with Git. Then you're running commands to check how many branches you have. And then you're running a command to check any remotes you have. And if you have questions on what these commands are, you can take a look at the previous file, O1 git review. And we'll do this for 10 minutes, and then we'll move on to actually making branches. 9 minutes. Shouldn't be that bad. That's 7 minutes left. Simple now, but it'll get harder. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's not showing the record. I don't know why. It's weird. It's like, once we make another branch, we'll most likely have to see it. Mhm.
Oh, you did good. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. And but you're in your local machine right now. See, these folders, but you're not in them. See, you're here. He's in that folder. Now you're in that folder. And we need. So you don't want to do get in there. You don't want to do get in your root directory. That's your root directory. So that's the bottom of your computer. It's like the parent. Otherwise, the entire computer is. So inside here. And here you can get in. And this. That folder initialized right now. Get branch. Shows you the branches. It gives you. It shows you. Right, but you have to be in that folder before you. Josh, you got it?
I'm gonna go over it. All right, guys, let's go over it together. Okay, so the exercise was make a folder called branching exercise 2519. So let's do that. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go up a directory, go CD period period. That goes, it's almost like hitting the back button, right? Hitting the back button. So now I'm gonna do enter, did not work. What did I do wrong? Rob Joe. I wanna make a folder, mkdir. Cool. I'm gonna clear the screen. How do I clear the screen? Clear enter or control L. Control L works also. Do ls, just check. This is the folder I'm gonna go into. How do I go into that folder? What do I do?
Change city and then type there.
Excellent. Get exercise 2.5. That's funny. I'll just redo this part. Let me go back, delete this. Keep in mind when you delete from the terminal, it's gone forever. There's no way of getting it back. So I'm gonna make this folder, go into it. And now I'm inside the folder, right? So that was part one and two. Now we're going to do 3, initialize a Git repository. Right, what's the command for this? Git init, good, right? So we'll just go back, type git init, right? Actually, what I'm going to show you the difference. So right now I did ls-la. These are all the files and folders. There's nothing here right now. If I do git init, and I do ls-la, you see that there's a .git folder now, right? So this is why the folder is a Git repo, that .git folder. And if you go into it and explore it, you can learn a lot about Git. Okay, so we did git init, good. Run a command to check how many branches you have in the repo. Juditha, Derek, git branch, good. Right, I don't know why. We'll find out once we do the next part. And then run a command to check any remotes you have in the repo. Qua. Git remote dash v, good. Right, git remote dash v, and we don't have any. Good, excellent. So now what I'm gonna do is show you guys how branches work. We're on the master branch. By default, you get this, right? By default, if you make a repo on GitHub, you see master. You see master there. So if I go to GitHub right now, I didn't push anything here. So let me go to another one. See, I got my, you gotta be careful because I told you guys already, I went to this like conference with a bunch of developers and I looked away for like a moment, laptop, phone stolen, gone. And I had 2-factor auth on my phone for GitHub. So it's like the one thing I didn't back up. Does anyone use 2-factor auth? Right, 2-factor auth for, like it's like an app on your phone and you have to put a code. It generates a random code. You have to put it into the site and then you can get in. GitHub was the only one I didn't back up because I was like, whatever, it's just GitHub, right? I lost access to my GitHub account permanently. It's nuts. So I had to make that new account. So I'm on this repo right here. This is what I'm talking about. This master branch is by default given to you. By default given to you. So now we're going to make a new branch. So to make a new branch, you do git checkout -b. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you all this. Git checkout -b, the name of the branch. So we'll call this branch, since we put Sandy into the README file, we'll call this branch William. Right? So I switched to a new branch called William. So we see, before I was on master, right? And now we see William. And now what's the command to show me all the branches? Fernando. Just Fernando. Git branch, good. God damn it.
I have a question on that.
Go ahead.
So I was doing the same thing, git branch,
Mhm.
and just completely like, could make a whole different.
Doesn't show branches. Weird.
So it takes me to a square and that's a little square that says N located on the top left side of the terminal.
Oh, you need to make at least one commit before you can see the master branch listed by the git branch command. Who would have guessed? Okay. All right. Let me switch. I'm going to switch to, if I switch to a, so right now I'm on the William branch, right? And we just read that if there are no, if there isn't a commit there, it won't even list it. So I guess I forgot to commit it when I remade this. But if I want to go back to the master branch right now, I do git checkout master. You gotta be kidding me. What? Oh, because I didn't commit anything there. There is no master branch. I'm gonna redo this. I'm sorry, guys. I screwed this up by not committing. I'm gonna just redo the whole process. Okay, so I'm gonna make the folder, go into it, right? And now I'm gonna make it a Git repository, Git init. And I'm in the master branch. I'm gonna make a README file, right? I'm gonna go into the README file, Sandy, save it, go back over here, git status, right? Add the README file, commit this, added Sandy. Good, so I have a commit right there. And now we see it, there we go, right? So we see, if I do git branch, we see master. So we won't, so let me write that down because that surprised me. I keep scrolling over there. So git branch, where did I see git branch? I wrote this, shows the branches you have. It only shows the branch if there's a commit in it. All right, so important designation. So now I'm gonna make a new branch called William. All right, so switch to a new branch, William. And if I do git branch, we see both now, right? But if I don't make a commit in William and switch back to master, William's gone, right? So I need to make a commit here before doing anything. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna update that README file. Now, if you weren't paying attention before, because it was pretty simple, definitely pay attention right now, right? So I'm inside the README file. Remember, it had Sandy in it. I'm gonna add William on the next line, right? And now I'm gonna do git status. We see a change. I'm gonna git add, git commit, added William, right? So now it has commit. I'm gonna do git branch again. I'm gonna switch back to master, git checkout master. Now I'm on master. If I do git branch, it shows a star next to master, not on William. But if I go back to the README file, how many names will I have, Juthika, Derek? One, why one? Why not two? Good, right? So we saw for a brief moment it had two, but it changed, right? The file will automatically change. Something that I recommend you do when you switch branches is to close out of all the files, right? Because sometimes what happens, when the first time I used GitHub at a company, it was a pain because I ended up I would switch branches and then I resaved the files. So I made changes on a branch, right? I switched branches. I had those files open and then I was closing out of them and it said like, do you want to save this? I was like, yeah, I want to save this. But no, I didn't want to save it, right? Because I had that work on a previous branch. I don't want to put that work on another branch, right? Where that work doesn't belong. So it's better to close out of all your files and then switch branches and then reopen your files. Just keep that in mind, right? And if you make that mistake, it's not a big deal, right? We can go back.
So you make an infinite amount of branches, you just have to put, just check out dash B
Mhm.
and the name of the branch you want to create.
Exactly. And we haven't gone over like why you would want to do that and when you would want to do that and how that works with the team, right? We're just going over the basic concept right now, right? Because if we go over all of it's too much. So we're just going to go over a little bit by a little bit. So now I see Sandy, right? Now if I do git checkout William, right? I switch to the William branch, right? We see the William stuff right there, right? So 2 branches. And when you do git checkout right now, let's just say I'm on the William branch, right? I'm going to do git checkout master. I did ls, I meant to do git branch, right? I'm on master. I'm going to make another branch. So we'll make the Tiana branch because that's the 3rd member in their group, right? I probably spelled her name wrong, maybe not. So I made this branch Tiana, right? And if I go back to here, I see Sandy. I don't see William, right? Because I started off on the master branch and I made a Tiana branch, right? So when you make a branch, whatever branch you start off at, that's what you're copying, right? So you can branch. I can make a branch to this branch and I can make a branch off of that branch, right? If I wanted to. Generally, you don't go that crazy, but it's good to understand it because it could be part of your workflow, right? We'll go over when you would want to do this, right? When you would want to do this. And by the way, it's completely okay not to do any of this in your project. As long as you give it a try, right? As long as you try this a little bit, then that's good. But you don't have to keep using it your entire project, right? Because it's the first time you're doing this. And you have only 2 weeks.
Just to reiterate,
Mhm.
a new branch inherits the file data from the previous.
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah. So keep in mind, I'm on the Tiana branch right now. So I'm going to do the Tiana, save this, add a Tiana. Right. So now it's master only has Sandy. Tiana has Sandy and Tiana. William has Sandy and William. Right. But well, what's the point of making branches if we don't combine them together? Right. We'll go over that right after you practice this a little bit. So if I switch to master right now, if I switch to Tiana, reload, Sandy and Tiana, switch to William, Sandy and William, right? Each branch with the README file is a little different. So it's gonna be interesting when we combine them all together. Okay, so now let me send you guys an exercise. I know that was a lot. I wrote out the process of, I wrote out like the details of what I just went over right here. So in 03, the details are there, and 04 is the exercise. Ebony, go ahead.
So because it only inherits what's in the master branch, is there a way to push to master?
Well, absolutely. Right now, we're not dealing with notes at all. Like this is only local, right? We're not dealing with GitHub, right? In the past, when I put it all together, it was just too much for everyone, and no one got anything. So just little pieces right now. Okay, so Fernando, give me a thumbs up when you are open. 04-git branching-exercise. Yeah, 04 came before 03. Didn't expect that. Hey, Fernando, just give me a thumbs up when you have 04.
folder that we are working on.
Oh, so go back to the folder that we were just working on, the repo we made. Yeah, you got it, Fernando? Cool. All right. And Mary, just give me a thumbs up if you have it. Cool. We'll just do 10 minutes for this exercise too. In this 10 minutes, I want you to go over the file I sent you also. So do the exercise, go over it. Raise your hand for any questions. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so it goes in the yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, you're on the map. You're on it? Let me show you. So hit command space. Oh, you have to hit it in both. It's a hold command and then hit space. Is that it? Yeah, so yeah. Like that. So do I try it? What are you doing different than me? Yeah. I guess do it. Just do it with this and there we go. And then press enter. You can get to the really quickly. Now the terminal should. Cool. Thanks for asking. Escape, colon Q. Yeah, escape Q.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you're just trying to get out of it. Yeah, there's a way of making it so it doesn't go into the there's something called nano. Goes into nano mode. It's easier because it gives you the commands. Tells you like all the commands.
Yeah.
How would you know if you're where you're at? No. I don't know.
If you want to prevent that, Qual, you would say, you would Google Git keeps going to Vim mode.
No.
Stop Git from going to Vim mode. All right, okay.
So we don't have any. We need to get stuck. branch doing that. Your own branch doing that. So when you do the branch and come in with anything, it's also that will be started. Wait, but did you make a original file? With that one, yeah. Four, four, three. Right, come on.
Four,
Four,
four.
4, 3. Right?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay.
If you want to do it, take it. You can do it. Okay, get that. Wait.
I'm here.
Yeah, it's here. This number, number 2. Yeah, if you delete that, you have to start all over again. Okay. Then just make number 4. You find number 4.
1 second.
No, you're in Miriam now. So you're, no.
Yeah, that's interesting. See, I've been on.
No,
Like,
that's your folder.
it's basically you
But
go
what I
into
mean by doing it.
Yeah, I was
you're on the
watching some
William
videos.
Lance.
people have different ways of
It
doing
seems
it.
kind of chaotic. Doesn't seem that, like, it doesn't have stress. Like part of the fact that it's not like you know, like it's like there's
Every time we do that, so there's a,
Way back.
I sat down with a
Anyway,
partner,
let me just fix
actually
this
helped
for
their
you.
company once. He was like my video, and he showed me their parallel and everything, their strengths. That was a small team. So
Oh, yeah, you
there's
don't
a
have
product
master
manager.
because you did the.
Usually, this way it kind of makes sense. There's a product manager, and they a really good product manager will like really try hard to get the vision for the company. The vision, like where are we trying to go? Like what are we trying to do? Right? And
But you have like a file.
and we'll lead the product strategy towards them, right? Because that's
Start from the
if
beginning.
you don't understand the vision,
You want to do that
adding stuff
correctly.
to the website
open it.
and hoping it'll do something that's good.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So once that person
Yeah,
has
yeah,
that, they'll kind of like build it from, right? Like this is what our product should be able to do, and they'll use KPIs. Have you heard of those? They're called key performance indicators. So usually, a key performance indicator could be, a simple one could be like user acquisition, right? Or customer acquisition, right? So maybe customer acquisition pays like $300, and a KPI is like bringing it down to $250, right? Or increasing like
No, that's not.
over time, right? With it, or increasing, right? So average user spend over time, wanting to go up to this level, right? So we'll have like a different number of KPIs and stuff. Like, have you heard of? There was like this Snap Blades. Have you heard of Graze boxes?
Yeah, I think you're from Nature Box. It's kind of like Nature Box.
Yeah, Graze. It's this one.
It's like, yeah, like there's
You would
one called
never-
Nature Box.
You would never imagine that there's a huge tech company behind because it's just snack boxes. But I actually subscribed to this for a while. I got, I'm eating all this crap. I mean, it was healthy, but chocolate's chocolate. So,
Right.
uh,
Yeah, like see these boxes. Yeah, like I said, another one you look up, Nature Box. What's exactly like that?
yeah, I'm trying to find Get in Touch. Was it Jobs? Their video doesn't exist. Okay, well, one time I saw their I saw their video.
That will make it
Company,
direct.
and so in their company, they have all these like screens with all their KPIs in real time. In real time, you can see the user acquisition rate. In real time, you can see all these different metrics.
Put your name
Always
inside the
the
file.
product
Put your name on
strategy
that
is to,
file.
like get those down.
Right.
So this the Scrum is like, okay, we're gonna work on this feature, and it's tied to this KPI, right? And we're gonna try to get it done in 2 weeks, and deploy it, and then we're gonna measure the results of whether it's features.
It's already saved.
Like,
You have to open it.
So that's a really good one. But generally,
No. Open.
Okay.
Yeah.
if you have a good, because to get to that level, you need like a committee that is very transparent. They're like, these are KPIs, and please help us get there. And then you need like a product manager that cares.
It's just like two, right?
It's also cares. I don't know. Like it's all of those.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a company that has their stuff together though. Like there's early stage companies are like they don't even have any KPIs because they're just building a product. In that case, I mean a sprint could be like get this up and running. What you guys are doing, okay, like what you guys are doing, it's just get it done, right? Yeah.
So then I switch back to thing is when I do it,
Well, switch we spelled Sandy wrong.
yeah.
And then you did that. That's good. Then you're making a new one called William,
Yeah, I realized that I didn't.
and then get branch, current branch.
Wireframe hasn't seen
Oh,
it.
that works. The current branch
Yeah.
fucking works. Holy shit, that's awesome.
Who should ask me for it? See, this happens when I bring it.
I think you want to not just.
Well, if you don't have a commit in there, then it won't show it. But that's what happened to me.
I know you talked about you wanting to handle the fire
I don't know why.
I think that would be here.
But if I do the get parent branch,
All you guys are doing.
yeah.
Let's go into this. All right, guys, really quickly. Some people, when they do git branch and press enter, it takes them into this separate screen, right? It takes them into a separate screen like this, right? Did anyone get this? It's like a separate screen when they type git branch. Quiet. Can you raise your hand? Yeah, this happened to you.
Not a screen.
Well, it's not a separate, it's the same screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's same screen, but it's like a different mode. To get out of this, you do :Q. Wait, :Q, enter. Yeah, :Q, enter to get out of that screen, right? It's just Q. Okay. So it says something :Q or Q. It's just bringing a message into this coding editor called Vim. It lives in your terminal, right? Okay, so let's go over this exercise together. Back to the previous folder. I mean, you just have to go into it, right? The folder that we made earlier. You just have to get into that folder, CD, the folder name. Name path, right? So that's what you're doing. And once you get into the folder, you're going to make a file called readme.txt. Aaron?
Touch. Readme.txt.
And then you're going to put your name into it. You just put your name into it, right? And save it. And you're going to commit this. So what you're going to do is you're going to do git add period, right? Git commit -m, added my name. That's a good one. Or added, or if it's Fernando, added Fernando, right? And then make a new branch called my partner. And how would I do this right here? Let's go to Janak, Kristen. Excellent. And you're gonna switch to it, right? Which, I mean, this should switch you to it automatically, but just say let's just say you want to make sure that you're on that branch. Let's go to Josh's row. Let's say I wanted to make sure that I'm on the my partner branch right now. Git branch, right? To check. You could also do check out my partner just to be sure, right? That switches you to the my partner branch guaranteed.
Oh, okay. Check.
No, but you're good because we're definitely on it when you do this. In the README file, you're going to add your partner's name on the next line, right? That's just enter, typing in their name, pressing and saving it. And then over here, git add period, git commit -m, and then added partner name. right? And then switch back to the master branch. And now how do I switch back to the master branch, Fernando's row? It master, excellent, right? And then look at the readme file. It should only have your name in it, right? It should only, because the master branch only had your name in it. And then to the my partner branch, and then go ahead, Fernando's row. How do I switch to the my branch? Excellent, right? Look at the readme file. It should have your name and your partner's name in it. Questions on this? Yeah, go ahead, William.
What's the difference, like, the one that worked like get underscore current underscore branch versus get,
Git branch?
yeah.
Well, looks like branch will only show the branches with commits in them, and Git current branch will show the current branch that you're on. Yeah. Yeah, but Git branch is good because it'll show you all the branches and what branch you're on amongst them, right? Yeah, cool. All right, so that was branches right there. So when would you make a branch by yourself, right? When would you make a branch by yourself completely? So let's say you, Fernando, right? You worked on a homework assignment. You use Bootstrap, right? It looks good. And then you look at Materialize. You're like, how would this site would look like with Materialize, right? So one way you do this, right, is you can copy the folder, right? Paste it on your desktop and then rename it, say, Bootstrap version, right? And then put Materialize in it and see how it looks like. If you don't like, take all the files back from Bootstrap and put it in here, right? And then in case you still have the files backed up, right? So that's one way of doing it, but that isn't great when you have multiple partners, right? Because that folder you just copied and put on your desktop, someone just changed it, right? And whatever change you had on your desktop, now it's different, right? So, and you just maybe you're over things because you need to make sure that what you're working on easily like copied from someone. So this is exactly when you would do this, right? You're on your master branch, right? It's Bootstrap, it's good. You check out, you do git checkout to try and Materialize, right? So you make a branch called try and Materialize. You integrate Materialize, see how it looks, right? Maybe you push it up and you ask your partner, hey, can you check out this branch? Tell me how it looks, right? Let me know if you like it better than Bootstrap, right? And then you can integrate it in or not. Sometimes like I'll try something new out on a branch, and if it seems C, I'll just like delete the branch, right? I didn't screw anything up at all.
Master is production.
Yeah, usually master is production. Usually master is production. Some people make a production branch, right, and have that be production. A lot of people just use master as production. Like master by production, what do you mean by production? The master branch is what the live site is. That's what he meant by production.
So they'll make production different because they can all push to the master, the quality assurance on the master. And
Exactly.
push that to production.
Yeah, it's whatever your workflow is, and your team will define it. That was my workflow teams, and then I was like, there's very few situations where master's production, and it was just adding another step for me. So I just like got rid of that step. So master's only
You
production.
can combine them together then before going to master.
Yeah, so we'll do that next. Yeah, it's just one. Yeah, so that scenario right there is good. Another scenario, people are working on different things, right? So let's go to right, Juthika and Derek. You guys are building. It's I don't even know what it's called. It's like a meeting. It's like a find a news to go and meet someone app. Right? Yeah, thank you. You have to come up with a name that encapsulates all that in one word or two words, right? So let's say you're working on the Yelp API, right? And Derek, you're working on the Firebase integration, right? So so all of a sudden, you're working on a branch called Firebase integration, right? You're working on a branch called Yelp integration, right? So that's another scenario where branches are good, right? Because you can work on that branch and you can work on that branch, right? And your work is kind of like separate, and you can combine it later. two scenarios where branches are good, right? Trying something out, seeing how it flows, right? And you're not risking the original files or complicating things. Another one is each one of your team members is on a specific feature, is working on a specific feature. Has anyone ever used Jira before? Jira, cool. So Jira, you have ticket numbers, right? So it's basically like an issuing thing, and each task has like a ticket number on it. So sometimes what we'll do is their branch name will be the ticket number, and then whenever if you set up your hooks properly, in Jira you'll see Jira is like it's a to-do list essentially. If you set up anything you do in GitHub, automatically gets logged right here in the Jira ticket, automatically, because you named the branch specifically like that. So there's all these like workflow optimizations that people have for their teams. It's not going to be on every team, but it's interesting. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is we'll go over merging. We'll go over merging right now. Now, let me make a new file. Okay, so here, I'm going to go to your master branch. Don't do this, right? Go to your number one, go to your master branch. Number two, git merge the branch name that you want to be put into master, right? So you're creating two branches together, right? So I'm going to go into the master branch and I'm going to git merge the branch into it, right? So over here, I'm going to go here. I'm in the William branch. I need to go into master. So what am I going to type, Juthika? I'm going to go into master. Good, git checkout master, excellent. And then if we do git branch, master, good. Now, if I wanted to merge William into master right now, git merge William, right? And it took all the chain William and put it into my master branch. It merged the two things together, right? So let me write that down. This command puts everything from the branch name branch to the master branch. So now if we take a look at the file, we see Sandy and William, and I'm currently on the master branch. I'm on the master branch right now, and Sandy and William is both there, right? If I do git status, nothing, there's nothing to commit, because I literally just combine the branches together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove I forget this all the time. Delete. Yeah, so this is how you delete a local branch, right here. Put this in the. You want to be careful because once you do this, it's gone forever. It's gone forever, right? So you want to be careful with these commands. So I'm going to put William, right? And delete the William branch locally, right? A local delete is different from a remote delete. Like deleting from github.com is different from deleting from your computer. So now do clear git branch, William's gone, right? But hey, because I have William's changes all in here, right? Sandy and William. Now what I'll do is I'll merge on a branch, right? Git merge Tiana. Paying attention before, definitely pay attention now, right? Conflict. I got a conflict. So what it says is merge conflict and readme.txt, automatic failed, fix conflicts, and then commit the results. Generally, what happens here is you do this by yourself. There's two people usually involved in a conflict, right? The person who made branch and the person who made the other branch, right? If there's a file that's conflicting, you have to get both people and you have to decide together what that file looks like. So over here, it says which file is a conflict in, Aaron. Just read. Which file is a conflict in?
Automatic merge failed conflict.
You keep reading.
Master merging.
Sorry,
I don't.
Oh no, it's okay. Auto merging readme.txt.
Yeah.
Content.
Merge conflict. Oh, in readme.
in readme.txt. Yeah, so the merge conflict in readme.txt. Take a look at this, right? This is what the merge conflict looks like right here. So this is what this is what the original, this is what master looks like, right? This is what our original thing looks like. At the top is our original thing. And on the bottom, this is what we're trying to add in. This is what we're trying to add in. So this is head. Head is the branch. This is the Tiana branch. Tiana branch, master branch. This is what's inside the master branch. This is what's inside the Tiana branch. So it's saying that there was a conflict. Like, what's the conflict? It's saying that in the Tiana branch, there's no William. There's just Tiana on the second line. In the master branch, it's saying there's a William on the second line. Do you really want to replace it with Tiana? Right? Do you really want to replace William with Tiana? And right, what we actually want to happen is we just want this. I just fix the conflict. Right? We're just deciding what should this file look like, right? Because at the top we see what the root file has, and on the bottom we see what we're trying to replace it with. That's what a conflict is, right? And you just need both people there. It's a little weird and feels bad, right? When you see this, and you should feel bad when you see a conflict because it's like you have to talk to someone, right? And that's terrible as a developer, right? You just have to like get up and you be like, hey, we have to look, look at this file. It's terrible. But yeah, that's why people hate conflicts, right? Right. But just keep this in mind. This is the master branch. And maybe I should just.
Wait, but if
Mhm.
one person's working on one module,
Mhm.
and working on another module, you want to merge them together, won't there always be a conflict? Because they don't.
You're right. So usually you mitigate as much as you can by separating out tasks, right? Judika, you're working on the Yelp integration. You're working on the Firebase integration, right? Try not to do that in the same files. Try not to do that in the same files. Maybe you can't avoid it. Maybe you have to touch one file together, right? That's okay. That you guys understand that going into it, right? You're almost expecting a merge conflict file.
But whenever he's done with the Firebase, she's done with the Yelp, and they have to merge that together, there will be a conflict.
There's probably going to be conflict, but that conflict would be just in the files that conflict. Meaning, this in Derek's code, this file in the README file for Derek's on line 5, it says hello. In Judika's branch, in the README file 5, it says goodbye, right? Which one do you want? Do you want hello on line 5 or do you want goodbye on line 5, right? I mean, it's not going to know that. The developers will.
So I think where I was confused, so they should actually be working on like this JavaScript, 2 different JavaScript file names.
Oh, no, I mean,
We're gonna
yeah,
make file
I mean-
names like code.js, they wouldn't both.
Yeah, so I mean, like, if you have to, right? Because sometimes there's no getting around it. Like, there's a file and you have to modify it, and there's a file that they both have to modify together, right? And it's okay. You're gonna get a conflict, but you would decide together right here, like this, and you would decide what this file should look like together. So I would just be like, okay, we both want. I want Tiana in this. So I'm gonna get rid of this. And that's what the file like. You try your best to avoid these situations, but you don't make your files for the sake of avoiding conflict. Yeah. But you would separate out assignment in a way that would avoid conflicts, right? So which is Trello board's important. The Trello board's important. Okay, so now I save this, and I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna do git status right here. So I modified the readme.txt file, right? I have to commit this. So git commit, fix merge conflict, right? And done, right? And those merge conflicts will only happen when like a line is different in 2 different branches, right? And you're pushing them both together, right? It's like, because it's not gonna override anything, right? You make that decision. You're gonna have to make that decision of what should be in that file. Right? Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at this. Let me see right here. I'm gonna leave it at this, and on Thursday we'll go over pull requests. we'll go over this process again, right? The same process again, and we'll go over this. I'll do that later because with pull requests, we're combining the github.com with our local machine, right? So now I'm gonna just leave it at this. If you don't understand this process, or if you're a little confused, we're gonna go over this and for project 2. Same lesson for project 2, and again for final projects. Yeah, file 4 is right here. And then file 3 is right here when it's wrong order. I'm gonna send all the files that I have again at the end of class. Okay, so group work, if you have an idea approved, you have to jump on that. If you haven't tested out your APIs and shown me that your APIs work, definitely jump on that. And what was the third one? The wireframe. If your wireframe wasn't approved, then jump on that. You finished that. You didn't get your Trello approved. Please get your Trello approved. Right? Oh, Kwa, what's up? Yeah. You have a decent amount of time because of the holiday. Yeah. This next Saturday, you have off. The following Saturday. So the projects are due on that coming Tuesday. 2 weeks from today. You have time. Yeah. What's up?
So, I've already created the repo and everything. How do I give them access? Like, how do they get that on the database? Like,
Yeah, because when I've showed people this, it's like it's in one list. So I'll show you. You go to GitHub.
because I imagine they probably clone it to their dude.
No, you're exactly right.
I'd rather go to him.
So you go to
Get everything ready to be approved.
where the hell is it?
We're supposed to use this, right? The branches to do this.
No, yeah, without a doubt.
You wanna try it?
Adding.
Clone it, pull it, do all the recent changes, right, and push it back up.
Exactly. So here, let me go to my.
No, I didn't. I guess it's tough only one branch before.
So you go to settings. You go to settings right here. You go to collaborators. You put their names in. Their GitHub usernames.
Tags, yeah.
And it'll give them an invite link.
Yeah.
Copy that invite link to them.
Yeah.
And then just like ask them to accept it.
Okay.
They'll in their they can go to the repo right now.
Yeah.
And then they would clone it.
Okay.
And then it would get branches, and they would push the branches up, and they would make pull requests. We'll go over that on Thursday.
Okay. So they'll make, because I'm just trying to figure out how we can start working on this. Right now, I'm basically doing all the work, so I'm trying to figure out. So they're gonna get that repo.
For now.
So I'll cycle branches, I'll create a site, I'll create it, and then I'll push that up, and then I'll top it from there.
For now, it makes it work to just do it for you. Right. Once we go over on Thursday how to do pull requests, and we go process again, it'll be a little bit more.
Okay, so don't use branches.
Just don't use branches
This week.
for now, for Thursday.
Right.
Hey.
So, I want to know about so, we were using the Yelp API, and the same problem that the other team had, what Juica had, and her team, because they had to kind of like navigate through the app through someone else's app because you can't use it from the app. So I found a Fusion app that I can make, and it does create it for the back end.
Cool.
And then I found that, well, I made a node server, but I'm having a hard time connecting. So I have a front end for the node server, and I'm having a hard time connecting the Fusion to
Okay.
the routes. So do you feel like that's a little bit too?
I think it's a little too early for this, especially since we'll be going over that later on.
So kind of, I have it working already, pulling all of the data that I need. It's already structured and like.
Well, if that's the case, and you can make, so you're saying that calls aren't working? To this?
No, they are working. I'm just having a hard time connecting the back end to the Node.js.
Do you mean the front end to the Node.js server?
I made them separately.
Okay.
So I kind of found a Fusion app that I can kind of pull down, just like
Okay.
pre-made things. Like I have a Fusion app, and then I have like a node set I found and I downloaded, and I found out how to like basically. So basically, I'm trying to connect the server to the back end.
Okay.
Using the routes. So I want to know if I'm like being too.
Where's the terminal?
Yeah.
Okay. As a sample.js?
Yes. So that's the back end. But
Okay.
I have the node server in that folder, but not. So my app.
So it's good that you got it working, but you would have to make the API. I just think it's a little too much for now.
So I connected my API key, and that's what
Oh, this
says
is
it
work.
working.
This is it?
Yeah, but I just can't connect. I'm trying to find a way to connect.
Oh, this is what you're talking about.
So this is where I can change the fields and add my API key and make the API request. And I'm pulling all of the data that I need. It's just
Okay,
connecting
so-
this to the node server so that I can do a front end sort of thing, because it's only outputting in the terminal.
No, total. I get it.
Just put it, meaning, all of the files.
Two ambitions
So make all of
to work or
If you
it's
if you
not
add
gonna work.
it, you just adding. Now commit.
Hold on, I guess that is-
No, it's okay. You already added it. So if you want to know, make sure you- This is green, it's added, but it's not committed yet. So if it's add it, you can add it, you can unstage it.
Tell me that.
You know what was no, mean and means we so like the method. You can know what you are trying to.
You changed it to 8,000?
I did? Oh, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so do you have JSON view?
Put some notes.
I feel like you did.
Put some notes. Oh, I added.
Is it not on? Oh, maybe you JSON.stringified it. Okay, let me see. Okay, we'll just take that out.
Double quote, and then double quote.
Wait, here? Right here.
So this one is apostrophe for the answer.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so you have this. So you'd have to make an API call to localhost 3000/data, right, for this data. You'll have to also deal with cores. So you might not have access to this in HTML. It's possible. So you have to deal with cores. You won't be able to deploy this also. So you can go this route, but I'd say it's a little crazy for now. Only because there's a lot of stuff that you'll have a better understanding of in the project too. I mean, yeah, I'd recommend you don't do this. Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Even though it looks like it works, it does. I would avoid it. Is this the only data you want though?
No, I can pull anything from here. So I can separate like several calls and pull 3 different things that I want. 3 different.
You know what? I mean, go to Kit and ask them, can you set up cores for this? And then an API call for that and see. You won't be able to deploy it. So, you know, it's
But
a
I
one-
can
it's a
demo
one-
it, right?
You can demo it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
Thanks.
No problem.
Hello. So we have our wireframe for you.
Cool, awesome.
So starts out on a page. You have the option of either viewing existing plans that you've made or that others have made, or planning a new trip. If you select all existing plans, it takes you and it shows you the city and what the different existing plans are. And you can select when you do outside the details for each one, so things are already selected. If you want to, you can edit it and do it to like everything that's available, not just the ones that you selected here. Which is similar to what happens if you do a plan a new trip. It asks the city, and if there are any dates associated with that city, you can enter them and then do a search. And then it pulls in all of the API information for that thing. So you can select which one you're interested in. And the restaurants, there's like rating information, style of food, that sort of thing. Brewery, more information. The weather is sort of static, like instead of here we go with tickets, whether it's just you either add it or you don't. And then, so
Then you can add space.
Yeah, add all of your selected trees.
And then you see all the different API.
So this is like the set plan.
This is how the work goes.
Looks amazing. Yeah, I don't have any questions. So just work on the Trello.
Okay.
Awesome. Good job, guys. Great.
I selected you as well on Sunday, but we want to make sure we're good.
Oh, cool.
So we did another mock-up. But I
Nice
realized-
name.
Yeah, me too. Real life.
Love it.
Unfortunately, we do have some bunch of API issues.
This is perfect. This looks great.
Yeah, but yeah, blindness and you're not on it and on it. The idea that would set a reservation and hire a lift without the authorization of the user is not gonna happen. And we can't get a reservation API. So we're using here. We went through Google, we went through Yelp, we went through OpenTable, Zomato, none of which worked.
So what you guys- what you
We're
guys
using
do?
here, which is a place's API.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Cool.
so we mark location, we reverse geocoding for address, and then we're able to pop out nearby locations.
Awesome.
Great. What are those coffee shops or restaurants?
Excellent.
So we're gonna loop over, select a random.
I think it's the former.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, and then Trello as
And you
well.
have Google Maps or there's
So
some.
we're gonna pump it up.
Some kind of map.
We have
Yeah.
Trello.
Oh, okay.
I think I invited you. but-
Let's see. I think some more granularity in the tasks, like little fine point, like get right, get map on page, make form work, right? Make API call, make the form, make the API call, like kind of break down the tasks to like a very like in one sentence what is it, right? And but being specific, right? And then just try that. Shouldn't be that bad, right? Because you have the wireframe all done. Shouldn't be that bad, and show that. To me. Good job. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Thank you. Without a doubt. This looks great. Put this over. I'll just scroll. Do login last. Don't worry about login until the very end.
Well,
Okay, amazing, great.
well, kind of like a note that has everything like you can have.
Okay. Then you can share the.
Oh, okay, cool.
So instead of going to we just go on to use here. Here.com. And we're pretty sure this works.
This right here might be completely with Google Auth. Google, there's a Google Auth button that will take care of all the authorization for you. Yeah, so you might want to do that.
I was trying Firebase login.
Mhm.
And I figured out how to do yesterday.
Okay, go for
First, I
it.
want to show you the
Is are you encrypting the password?
No.
Yeah, that's like the one part that's like a little weird.
Yeah,
Whereas,
actually, I have a question about the login.
Raise.
Still not sure how much information we're putting
Hmm.
here, so I have to find that out.
Since you're doing it,
It just a function, right?
I'll give you the
And
one
then
with
there's
the
the
marker.
last
So
one.
you'll
was-
see the key, and then that's it.
Oh, what are goals?
People just replace this.
Goals are like,
So like,
you want
Oh, so got it.
say write it out and do the Ajax, and then you would have
And then what
quotes
drives these
plus,
achievements?
and then like bar code
if,
number,
for
bar,
example,
bar
they
code.
go to the same place like during that week,
Mm.
And then dot.
like
So it's an array is a square. bracket.
Yeah, this looks-
Hello?
Oh, cool. Right.
No, it's a curly. You put a solid graph.
Okay, it's fast. We haven't told it yet because we still
This
want
way.
to figure out.
Yeah.
how to
No, no, open. Right, that's an eight. Now, once you send the data, it's an object. So what's your URL?
Okay, so like be more specific with the tasks because the tasks. I know you said you use it quick. The tasks are like make this page, make that page, make that
Yeah,
page.
that's
So,
why we have steps.
oh, okay, I got it. Got it. I didn't see that. Didn't see that.
How would I call different pages? We all have the same design at the end.
Yeah.
Maybe like you assign certain pages.
This is your
You
key.
create like just like fundamentals of the page, and then we all decide together at the time like a color palette and stuff like that, and then change all over a page.
No, method.
Based on that.
Okay, I think you guys did a good job. Okay, never mind. Good job. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
You guys are ready to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that they want to start right away. I'm blowing them now, like, wait, we have to plan.
Yeah, yeah.
We embarked on planning.
Planning is the most important part.
And I have a question. Remember you said that we need to store our API in a JSON file?
Yes. Okay, so
Well, I was trying today. I have.
here, I'm gonna just do it in front of it, guys. Some people are using IPs that they might have put their credit card in for, right? Do not put those on GitHub, right? Do not put those on GitHub. There's bots. There are bots that scrape that and then just use to make API calls automatically. So what you do is you make a JSON file, or you make a JavaScript file or something. But you can make a JSON bar API key goes here. Save it as API key.js, right? And then what you're going to do is make a new file called .getignore. And you're going to put API key.js. Right, so I put the API key in a brand new JavaScript file. I put the API key in a JavaScript file. And then I have a .getignore file where I'm ignoring it. So it won't be pushed up. It won't be pushed up to GitHub. But you can. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What would you say, Greg? Yeah. So your code won't work, right? Your code won't work. In GitHub, you have to like manually make this file locally to get it, but it's a way of avoiding that API key getting leaked. Yeah, and then you would just include that JavaScript file in your HTML file before the previous JavaScript file.
Okay, I was trying to do some
That's better?
I don't know how to reference that.
You
Yeah, do an Ajax. You might not have to do an Ajax call to that JSON
I
file.
tried to do that, but I got.
So maybe just make a JavaScript file, like I just said. That might be a lot
I
easier. Yeah.
changed that.
We could have it
I
like, just, it was like something, I see kind of like Facebook, like
and I was working with some new student, and I
Do that,
ended up
or
adding
you
that
can
to the
have it so
window.
that It's on the front page, but it's just.
No, I know, I get it.
Maybe it's like on this page.
Because I
too.
found-
It's actually not
You
a
start
bad
getting
word at all.
into the nitty-gritty.
Oh, here.
Because I tried to do the AM school, and I think something I forget. Or I needed a local server to.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting. Games did it this way.
Yeah. Because I was doing
Great job, great job.
I want to ask you about, have you tried to use
So do you want to work,
persistence
or
and,
this page looks good.
because we
But do you wanna do
have
five?
like many
Which
pages
would be
that we
the-
want to start with, and I don't know if the
I'll
user,
do,
the
I'll do
login
2 and 3 because they're like a slight variation of the one I already created for right now.
right now.
Oh, what are you guys?
And I'll do 4, you can do 5,
Oh, you mean the session? Yeah, this is why you want to use
7.
instead, because you can't really. You
And
can
then
do
for-
you can
just
do a
make note
session.
for folks, you can get rid of
You have to
that.
do JWT tokens. I'm gonna go over that much later.
Okay, because I found like they
Yeah.
have these. I'm not sure
Okay,
that works.
it could work is
Oh, there.
you check if that value is still there, right? If it's still there, then
Yeah, what if login? It sends me to the,
cool.
as far as I got, this is logged from this is my user.
I don't
my
see it. I
profile.
don't see it though.
Yeah, I just added this object, so I'm not parsing them.
Oh, okay, got it. All right, good.
So we need
Oh, great job.
to
Yeah.
download Foundation.
Nice.
So for using Foundation, really all I have to do here.
Yeah, it's new.
It's just, it's like, so it's like, it's on file, and so then in my HTML, it's. So I say, CSS files, and everything they give you, it's formatted. And I have, yeah, so then I save it to the folder, it's under access. And then I create a style for you to change things that I want to change. So, yeah, so we gotta make, one thing we gotta make sure.
Yeah, no, if you
And I think you can work on like how to do the branches. I think the only time to do that is probably everything else. No, just the, yeah, the complete, yeah. It should just give you a zip folder or whatever. The great, the best way to learn how to use it is they give you an HTML file. It has like, it looks like. This. That shows you how their cells work, and then you can look at it. This thing. Why? Because I use DS now. So yeah, you can see. Sorry, you can see Sublime Text how it works. It looks a lot like it uses like the large 12 cells. Yeah, a lot of it is inputs and stuff. We can do all of our use our own CSS file. Style. Here's our search box. All
Yeah, sure. What's up?
Just have a, just a kind of a brief sketchy.
1 second. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, right. We're on the error side.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So it's a page about walking tours. Then you basically have a list of walking tours, the title, description, and then the guide. I was thinking of maybe at a later point making offer form. Yeah.
That's great. And you would add his work into it.
Right, or I would just send an email and then it would be added.
That's great.
And then here it's just a kind of the landing page for the neighborhood, the description of the tour again, and then a YouTube preview of the tour,
Cool. That's great.
and then a dot on the map.
Love it.
And ideally, if the tours are already started, maybe I can use the HTML location to put a pin on the map of where the guide is.
That's great. That's amazing.
But that's probably later. And then there's the sign me up form, which is just a modal, and then you can just sign up.
Cool. And you can email after the tour guide, right? Is that what you meant by that?
It sends a confirmation to the person, but also it would log in Firebase.
How would the tour guide work?
Well, yeah, that's probably another screen. You know, it would be another.
Shoot out your email.
Oh, it's tutor to emails. Okay. Yeah, great. Right. One to the tour guide. Confirmation. And I also sent you the Trello board.
You showed it to me.
But now we're using the den. So
Should we, no, I'm not saying we should. Figure it out. This button is easy to bring it to this. Yeah. Same with this one here too. Yeah.
oh, so Firebase, right? So you don't,
Yeah.
you don't need Firebase is a different
Like this. So maybe I just do JS on here. So our page is. But what it's going to do. I don't know.
She wants to,
So then when you click on that button, go to this page and also press it.
And if you comment,
no. There's no error, it's one corner.
right.
If you want to add some error, no, she already knows that this will work, right? Just say,
so like, we were doing weight loss, the Ajax value, I'm trying to capture.
I just want to
Ajax query. sodium. I like it. We don't have to do that. That we have. Yeah, so as we're trying to delegate to figure out how we're doing what and what needs like JavaScript, what doesn't. One of the things, so we're doing like a meal plan thing. So someone is going to essentially fill out for a day and like all the foods they're going to eat, and then based on their like goals, loss, or like lowering their blood pressure, there's going to be a total of a certain value, and then obviously we'll have to go over that. And so our biggest question was like, so here for folks who have put in what their valid goals are. So they say then we're going to count it down. Let's say lower the blood pressure, we're going to be counting sodium. So when it comes to then like searching the food, adding them to Ajax, value, how can we get it so that based on what they're searching, we can have Ajax request? Does that make sense?
So,
it would be an if. Right, it'll be like 4 or 5 choices. Like, yeah, like weight, high blood pressure, and maybe like another one. Or, yeah, right, yeah.
You get that one.
I think would it just be like an if else thing? So like if chosen, then you would run all this. So it'd be good.
Or if you can see a pattern, oh, I guess someone pays one keyword, and I can get the, you know, the content for the calorie or whatever. So as you progress, you will say, oh, there's a difference in my code, so I will have to shorten it.
Okay. So like maybe just get it down for one value.
Yeah. I will do that.
And then see if we can do
So that's basically it's just pulling.
okay.
Then we're talking about how to delegate it.
Kind of. So we
both have anger at the same time.
we're hopefully we can figure out something. But we were also thinking something like one thing we were trying to develop was like how we so we decided like to keep I'll do 1 through 4, keep it very bare bones, and then when we are together we can style it so that and so that we're all using the same like just don't add any fancy colors or different fonts. We can do that. Create the bare bones like the divs and create the other stuff together. Yeah, we're still on the splitting up. Still do the API and then he'll go if she does 1 in 1 branch, I do 1 in 1 branch, and then merge yeah, I already have. How do I share it with her?
Let's make like a sample one. Yeah, I think I started with Maybe.
Oh, what's your GitHub user? Alright, then you should yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't push on the back. So we should break out separate brand.
You said you have the phone, right?
Yeah, so I already have it like synced up with like my local. Yeah, I don't think I pushed it. I would push it.
No, okay.
I was kind of, I wouldn't say playing around. I was. I do, yeah.
So you believe in the max.
Okay. Make sure we watch actually have
Now from now on, you can push from the max.
Okay, I'm just gonna add into the master what I've done so far. So it's my own version.
Right now, the master.
Just any grade, like we didn't grade it.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Oh, yeah. So, it's one. So, what about one? Oh, year, month.
Year one.
So,
What I'm actually.
Okay. You have a shortcut for that?
To get to it?
No.
Go back on the camera. On my shirt. Yeah.
Or is also.
Yeah, this is the folder right here. Right here. Yeah, I noticed that when we did the read me, we had the second name, a green dash right there.
Checking. Yeah.
Well, like, so that's the big difference here in when I was using Vinyl. Usually when you type HTML, it give you more than this thing.
We're all wanting something that's
Right. That's
Good enough. So is that I usually have auto save on. Yeah, no, yeah.
Unstated too, right? When you commit,
Let's keep doing it, Ron.
Yeah, you just build the front end, and then I'll just have to match all of my like requested components. Okay. Once you make it, I'll just have to make sure I get it. And then I'm gonna connect this to the database.
So I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
I mean, you can probably create that.
Yeah, of course, man. Totally.
That reminds me, I totally lost some pounds.
You lost something?
I lost my charger. I was like, oh yeah, I lost mine.
Yeah, because he said it needed like more detail. I just removed it and then sent out. I'm gonna make, yeah, I'm gonna have fun
Oh, yeah. Mine looks like a child.
It looks like something I would put in.
Even just the API, we should go through all of our work.
No, it looks.
And then at the very time, like when we're, or near to just a complete end. It's
I see the.
You just have to draw some boxes. And
Oh, I didn't
kind of explain what you did.
Yeah.
And
You can merge in here. Oh, then you have to do the terminal. So I'd have to. How do I merge here? Or you can just. Well, the master doesn't have everything. The branch has everything. But then the branch has. Okay.
Arrow.
Okay. It tells you what the difference is.
Yeah.
That's like the thing.
Oh, it'll tell you there's a conflict or
So
not?
this like food.
Okay. Okay.
Then I have a back, but I realized once, like the way we wrote it out at first, once you know
That's true.
back button.
It's like separate than this. You know, like, so
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he have that?
It doesn't know, yeah.
Star rating, it has an image.
Go
It
to the
doesn't
top.
have a different hard code that depending on shop.
Not all restaurants have like a,
They all do.
All right.
I have to do that. So that's the next API. I have to run. Usually people are like,
Get brand.
well, I said I would do the APIs.
what do you say?
Oh, you're
The whole
saying-
thing.
No.
I want to give my credit card.
The map was on the first one. No, I kind of felt like, I'm kind of.
I want to learn this.
Next you want me to read?
Yeah. It's just saying that. Right?
I'm trying to find.
When the image.
And work on Trello.
Yeah. So what is, why would I learn on repo? Okay, but then how do I make sure? Do you click on it?
All right. Guys, really quick announcement. If you guys are figuring out how to do branching, right? Don't worry about it until Thursday. Don't worry about the branching until Thursday, because we haven't gone over pull requests yet, right? And we'll go over the merging process again on Thursday. So for now, just have everything go in person, right? Send your changes to that one person. They'll manage the GitHub for the time being, right? And on Thursday, after we go over pull requests, go over it one more time, then you can try out the process. I'll go over it again on Saturday too, right? Because it'll take some time to really understand the stuff. I mean, it takes the entire year, but I'll just do it this week and see if someone can actually implement it well. If you guys are going to work on your projects, I just ask you to just go out into the hall, find a desk and hang out there. I'm going to do a review starting from HTML and CSS. If you want to stay for that review, completely, just I ask you don't talk. Well, talk, but in relation to the exercise and the code. Right now, yeah. Yeah, sure. Let me take a look.
First, while you're free. So it's 7 pages. One of our stretch goals is to actually get authorization or reviews. It's going to give you kind of the main page where you take things like nutrition goals, like calories, like how many calories you eat a day, and then there'll be the 2 search APIs. So one part and then one for just like generally things like milk. Here will be like a running list of all the items in that list for the day. You
Oh,
have
no,
a
it's just
counter,
like-
like calories, how many calories you have, and if you got over your goal, allow you. And here it also say to, it'll say empty. So then from there, if you search your food, it'll go for, it will have a whole food description on it. You know, all the nutrition value, you'll have the decision to add it to your list or go back to search and say, no, I'm sure I don't want that in the cart. When you do that, you finally have a list, you have everything you want to do, you've done, see your final list. You'll go to your final list, kind of like it's card option, and then at the end, you say, again, I want to remove this. I decided I don't want that. That'll affect the final count. And then you'll be able to name this list, and say you wanted to name it, say, Sunday's meals, or what I'm gonna eat on Sunday, or something like that. And then you'll have the option to save and start the list, or then save and see your list, which then leads to the last page where it has like a list of all your lists.
Cool. I would like I thought I didn't have any questions on the flow. There's Rob, Archie, and Joe. They're working on food. It's not this.
Okay.
They're working on this kind of creating more based on ingredients. I want to work alongside with them.
Okay.
Because that API, you guys both might use the same.
Well, so I actually have some questions. I got it. That's the next thing I wanted to show you. So we're good with you go with this. Okay. So API, I got them both to work. So we had this one here first. This is this is the one with that needed a like local key and stuff like that, right? That Apple in there. And so now we're on console logging on this it says Apple has medical calories.
We have the license.
Yeah. So that's what my question is this is gonna pipe down the line, but the way they have this set up, see, I've been using Postman. I use Postman first to put some food in. Yeah. And it had an example in here that was like large apple, and so it looks like this, and then it was then 20 again. So when it comes to is a space? Okay, so if someone, if we in the future obviously like say plus, and then it's a variable people type in, and they say put in diced tomatoes, it'll fill on its own. That's you know kind of space.
Yeah, sometimes they fill. Depends on how they have their backend code set up.
Okay.
Yeah, they have their backend code set up so that the plus will be handled as a space, and you just do plus. If not, then the percentage will have to do.
Okay, we'll have to. How would we do?
Or you could do just sometimes if you just space, it'll just recognize it. Sometimes.
Okay. So how would we do this percent 20? Like 6 and 3. I don't even know.
So you do document with spaces. You do. So you can space, comma, quote, percent 20.
Okay. Okay.
So here, I'll just write it out. Over here.
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's pretty good. I'm just at this point. I'm just hoping, like, I know.
Okay, so then the other API was the more easier one because it was open source. It's just a barcode in here. And I have,
Wow, I thought this was easy.
yeah, it's literally just type in. I literally found food on my shelf. I'm like, I wonder if this works. And so I have it put in the ingredients list.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Good job.
So if we get more fancy, maybe we can say like, it's working on. We're just gonna do calories, and see if we can figure that out, and then see if we can add it.
Yeah, so it's great.
So yeah, that's our API, and then our here. So yeah, she wants to handle the Firebase, and so when it comes to Firebase, it's gonna be mostly the same my pages list, and saving pages and instant names things for them as well. And then, like I say, our stretch goal, if we get everything else working in time, is to have a working authorization sign-up page. But that'll be like, I say, the bells and whistles on this. She'll work on the Open Food Facts API, and then she's gonna work on the HTML CSS from 5 through 7. And we decided to use Foundation CSS for our grid. I showed her how to use that and download that and stuff. And so then I'm gonna do one thing, and the goal is like we'll just like we'll just do the HTML that does everything, and then we'll come together and figure out what we want for like exact styling and stuff together when we merge. We're gonna have me, yeah, and then we're on the process of figuring out the JavaScript who's gonna do what. We were thinking based on the pages we assigned ourselves for the HTML, CSS. Some
Also,
of
our
them
program also.
we can do that.
All I ask is for you guys to break down the tasks with a checklist. Right, so you can the other option is here.
Okay.
So break down the tasks instead of like typing, break down what each thing. So that way you can say, I'm working on this right now. There's like a lot more around it. But overall, this is a great start. Just add those subtasks in and then you're good.
Okay. The only other question I had, you said we need to use another JS library. Does that mean like majority of our JS can use jQuery as long as we incorporate another JS library?
As long as you bring in something else.
Okay.
Like it's not really an animation library. Maybe something.
I was thinking chart.
Chart. Yeah, chart. High charts.
Okay, yeah.
This class, like, something that I found out this class, if you take it seriously and you actually create your portfolio, you actually like build your network.
I don't know. I was just kind of looking at maybe like a flow chart, or maybe like a breakdown here. Like that's the like maybe you can get it like if these are eating for the day, where the majority of your calories are coming from.
Yeah, it does a really good job.
My job is basically testing the stuff that.
I mean, you have to build it.
Right.
I interact with a lot of the same things. And I do like stuff.
Thank you.
No problem.
So it's like tests.
All right, guys, we're going to start the review right now. On Thursday, the medieval class will be the review, right? Since most people have their ideas kind of solidified, you know, they're coding at that point. So we'll start off with just HTML. But before that, yeah, we'll start off with HTML. So go ahead, Ebony.
How far in the curriculum do you think we'll be like during the review, like throughout the project?
Oh, we'll get to Firebase. We'll get maps. We'll get it done. Yeah. So if I want to scaffold all the HTML, Alan, if I want to scaffold HTML, what do I do? Doc type. Does that work? I think for your editor, I think it's doc type, right? Yeah. For mine, it's just HTML tab, right? So HTML tab. Over here, I'm making an H1. So let's go to Carol's row. For a second, I was like, her name's not Carol. What's her name? But her name's Carol, so it's fine. The H1.
The header.
Header, good, excellent, right? So over here, we'll just name this organizing your computer, right? And this is a really good thing. If you can organize yourself really well, then you'll be set for this class, right? And for the future. It's really easy to kind of just lose what you're doing. So we're going to have like a central folder. So over here, I'm gonna go up. So over here, this is my Dropbox, right? I have a code folder. All of my code goes in there, right? And it's in my Dropbox folder. So all my files are backed up on Dropbox, guaranteed, right? Whether I push it up on GitHub or not, whether I pushed up something on GitHub or not, all code's there. And it was really helpful. I'm really thankful I did this because when my laptop, my phone got in, I had a ton of stuff, but it was all on Dropbox. And I was really thankful that Dropbox does have a free version. I do pay for the premium version because I have a lot of files, but they have a free version. There's also Google Drive, Google Dropbox. I mean, they're basically the same for the most part. So I recommend you put everything in this folder. I put everything inside a code folder. And so I go into the class code folder right now, CD class code. I have folders. It's easy for me to tell. It's easy for me to decide like which one I need to go into. And if you take a look at our class folder, this is our folder. It's really easy for me to jump into a certain section like where do arrays and loops? Well, I can go into the folder named arrays and loops, right? If I go in here, where did I loop over? Where did I do a while loop? Okay. Go to the while loop file, right? So I named everything really well. And if yours is just folder names or is just 08, right? And your files are just, you can't tell which one's which, then you can't really reuse these files, right? And with something like a while loop, it's really simple, right? But later on when we get to authentication and rest, where did I use handlebars, right? Where did I use the handlebars package, right? And what does that look like? Right here. It's like, oh, this is the configuration for handlebars right here. Right, all of this configuration for handlebars. Well, what about the configuration for EJS? Right, it's right here. And this is what set up EJS. I'm not expecting you to understand this, but what I'm trying to convey is that if I get to this file, I can get to it really quickly, right? I can get to this code quickly when I need to. Right, so number one thing, organize code. Make relevant folder names, right? That's descriptive of the stuff inside of it. The file name should be descriptive of what's inside of it also. So that way you could jump into files really quickly, right? If that's not your setup, take an afternoon off and work on that. So organize yourself really, really well. Prepare for the worst scenario that you're in a Starbucks and someone your laptop and runs, because it's happened to my friends before, right? So just prepare for that scenario of losing your laptop, or unfortunately someone spills coffee on something, right? I bought this large blueberry coffee for a friend of mine because he likes blueberry. And I gave it to him, but I dropped it on his laptop. And it wasn't a coffee, it was a fucking extra large coffee. It was so much coffee. Yeah, and he's a really nice, but I was really scared because he's like ex-military, Marine, you know, I was just like, okay, so I have this header right here, and we'll do some basic stuff, right? So let's make a div, right? So how do I make a div? Excellent. So div stands for divider, right? It's basically a box. So what I'll do right now is some text inside of it, right? So hello. And if I right click, open this in the browser, check what it looks like right now. This is what it looks like. Doesn't look that great or anything, but we'll add some style. So I'll add a style tag right here. And how do I style the div tag? So it has a border, like it has a red border around it. Let's go to Alan's row. No, it's all right. So div, right? Space curly brackets. And over here, border, good, right? Colon. And now 1px. What does the 1px stand for? 1 pixel. Solid red. Right? So right here, we're just putting a border of 1px solid red on this div right here. Right? And if I refresh, we see the 1 pixel solid red around this div. But why is it going around this entire width of the page right here? Right? You're right there. Well, it has margin automatically. It's a box level element. I mean, it's a block level element, right? So divs are block level elements. So they take the width of the container element that they are in, right? And in this case, the container element is what's containing this div tag? The body, right? See this body tag? This body tag is containing this div tag right here. So it's the body. Right here. So if I do, let's say I do one div right here, div by, right? This one we know is gonna have a red border around it. What about this one? Let's go to William and Sandy. Will this one have a red around it, or will this one not have a red border around it? It will? Okay, so let's save. Go back, refresh. This one also has a red border around it because we're saying all divs, right? Style, all divs, all div tags like this. Okay, so let me copy this stuff and make another file. Right here, save that, 07. We'll go, for this one, what we'll do is particular divs. I'll call this one style all divs. All right, going back and renaming the file a little bit better based on what is inside of it, right? Get into the habit of just naming things very, very well so you can go back really quickly to them, right? Okay, so style particular div. So what if I wanted to style this div a little bit, right? What kind of tag can I give? What kind of attribute can I give this particular div? An ID, good, right? You could go class too, but the class is more of like for multiple elements and ID is for a particular element, right? So over here we'll do ID and we'll say background green, right? Or yeah, I'll just say background. Yeah, so then over here, if I wanted to give a green background to buy, right? A green background to buy for this div right here, Fernando, how would I target this div with ID right here? Good. And then if I wanted to give a background color of green, what would I do? I'll just do green because I don't. Okay. Save, right click, open in browser. Great, so we have green right here. Awesome. Right, so we were able to style a particular div a little bit differently. Like this div right here has, it's like really hard. So I'm gonna just name this yellow, 5 pixels. Yeah, so you see that this one has a yellow border around it still, right? Both have yellow borders, but this one has a green background. So this style takes place, right, for all the divs. But for any element with this styling, it also has whatever previous style. Right? Question, Carol? Oh, cool. Awesome. No, cool. So let me just send you guys these 2 files, go over with each other, keep adding on, and finishing up. Well, oh wait, we have 10 minutes. Great. All right, so let me just keep going. Oh wait, so we'll style change width of a div. Okay, so let's say I wanted to change the width of these divs right here. What would I do over here? What would I write right here? Let's go to Sandy, William. Width. Cool. So we'll do 50%, see if that works, right? Cool. So it shrunk 50%, right? You could also give a pixel width, right? So we could say 500 pixels. Oh, what's up?
When you say 50%,
Exactly, 50% relative to the container element. Really good, really good. Right, so put that back. 1,000. Oh, it's so the pixel. So you should generally try not to use pixels for width. For a height, it's okay, right? Right, because height's fine, but the width is relative to the screen size, right? Like my computer is different from, because I don't know what this is, 15. Yours could be like a 17, and then I don't know, Windows comes in like totally different sizes, and then you got the phone, the tablet, right? Big monitors. Yeah, so you want to try to make sure widths are percentages. Let me write that down. Exactly, you're thinking responsibly. Try your best to use percentages, bits over pixels to accommodate different screen sizes. Good. So we gave a width of it. And, as I forget who said that, I think it was Joe, 50% of the container element, or Rob, or James. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. You guys all mixed. I heard it in that row, so you were all one person. Okay. We did the width right here. But let's say we have two other divs and we want to style divs the same. So we'll use a class to style those divs. Let's call this 09 using classes to style multiple divs. So over here, 09. So let's say I add two more divs. Right here, this one will say Ola, and I want to say Asa Manana. What's bye? Adios. Damn it. Adios. Is that adios? Okay. Is this adios?
Yeah.
Okay. This looks wrong. That's okay. All right. Okay. We have these right here, right? And so we'll give them a class. And what's the best way of saying what language? We'll just Spanish, right? Right here. So we want to style these two a little bit differently. So target the Spanish divs, right? The Spanish class divs, Fernando's row. Right? These two have a class of Spanish. So how do I target those? Dot Spanish. Excellent. And then over here we'll do a different border. We'll do 5 pixels dash. I was gonna do white, but that's bad because the background color is white. Orange, thank you. Oh, because hashtags are for IDs and dots are for class. Yeah, good question. Thanks for asking it. And then I'll just right click, open this in the browser. Right, so now we have those two and they're dashed, right? We're targeting 2 and giving them the same style with the class. Use an ID. When do you use an ID, Sandy? Good, so you have more than one and you want to style one in a very particular way, right? When do you use classes? Let's go to Josh.
Like, yes, we have like a lot of the div tags and style all of them together.
Excellent. You have multiple elements and you want to style them the same, right? But you don't want to all of the elements. You want to style a subset of those elements the same, right? Then you use a class. Good. And so just keep this in mind though, that the ID is more specific than the ID is more specific than the class. Right, so we'll go over CSS specificity, like the precedence of different ones on Thursday, and then we'll do JavaScript part. But let me just right-click, reveal in Finder. Oh, we'll do one more. We'll do one more because it looks kind of bad. We can give some margin. Give margin to give separation. Am I spelling separation right? Separation.
Yes. No, it should be E instead of A.
Right here?
Yeah. No. Actually, yeah.
Okay, separation. Give separation between divs. Okay, cool. So over here, if I wanted to give some gap from one div to another, because right now it looks like this. There's no gap. See, like this is a div and this is a div, this is a div, this is a div, but there's no gap in between. So what would I write? What attribute would I target right here? Sandy William. Margin X, margin dash, and you could do margin, and margin's a little bit complicated, right? Because you're going, I think, is it counterclockwise or clockwise? I forget the way. Clockwise. So instead of just remember, I'll just do margin dash bottom. I'll do 10 pixels. So there'll be a 10 pixel gap between each one. So going over here, wait, that's the wrong one. Save, right click, browser. So there's in between. I'll do 30 pixels. There we go. So now there's a 30 pixels between each one, right? I put a 30 pixel margin underneath each, right? So there's a little bit of separation right there for them. Tiny review. Get started today. Let me send this out. The most important thing though is organization, right? Naming your folders and describing what's inside that folder, right? In the folder, and then in the files, describing what's inside the file in the file name, because you want to be able to get to these files. Think about yourself a year from now, right? You haven't done any CSS because you just focused on backend code, right? And all of a sudden you're like, I know I've done this entire thing before. But guess what? You're gonna have to relearn it, right? If you don't name your files correctly, you'll have to relearn it, and that's awful, especially when you've done your thing before. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we're gonna keep going. Yeah.